most men think laziness means you do not care. You do not try. You just do not want it badly enough. But here's what most men actually feel on the inside. They do care. They do want to change. They genuinely want to be disciplined and build something real. And yet they still procrastinate. They still delay. They still avoid the things they know they should be doing. And they cannot just figure out why. So they tell themselves that motivation is the problem. If they could just feel more inspired, if they could just find the right system or the right moment to finally get serious. And they wait, and weeks go by, and nothing changes. Here's the truth that nobody is telling men about laziness. It's not a motivation problem. It never was. Until you understand what it actually is, you will keep trying to solve the problem, solve the wrong problem. Now, I need to be honest about where I have been with this. I've spent a lot of time waiting to feel ready, waiting to feel motivated enough to start. Telling myself, I would get serious when things get calmed down or when the timing is right. And the timing was just never right. Because I was waiting for a feeling that was never going to show up on its own. I was treating motivation like, I was treating this motivation like a starting point when actually it's something that comes after you start, not before. That's kind of how it's been with this YouTube channel, to be honest. I've been just procrastinating on starting it for almost 2 years now. And I finally just started it, right? The longer I waited to start, the more I believed that something was wrong with me. And that other men had just, that some fire or some disciplined gene or something genetic that I was missing. But that was not really the problem. The problem was that I had the whole thing backwards. And maybe you do too. So here is what the Bible actually says about laziness. And it's more confrontational than most men are comfortable with. The Bible does not talk about laziness as a personality type or something that you're born with. It talks about it as a choice, a pattern of choices, a refusal to face discomfort. Proverbs 26 verse 13 to 14 says, "The sluggard says, 'There is a lion in the road.' As a door turns on its hinges, so does a sluggard on his bed." A lion in the road. That is an excuse. A reason that sounds legitimate, but is really just a way of avoiding to move, right? And the door on its hinges. Movement that goes nowhere. Back and forth. Active but producing nothing. That is what laziness actually looks like. Not a man sitting completely still, but a man who thinks, plans, talks, and intends to do things, but never actually does them. And here's the uncomfortable part. Laziness is not about what you cannot do. It's about what you will not do. You will not face the discomfort. You will not choose effort over ease. And over time, that unwillingness becomes your default setting, your lifestyle. And you stop even noticing it because it just feels like who you are. This is who I am. I'm a lazy person. And here's the biggest lie that culture tells men about this, right? Wait until you feel motivated. Find your why. Work on your mindset. And once the feeling is there, the discipline will follow naturally. Now that is completely backwards, and it is keeping men stuck. It's kept me stuck for years. In James 1 verse 22 it says, but he, but, sorry, but be doers of the word and not hearers only, deceiving yourselves, doers, not feeders, not planners, not men who have watched every productivity video on YouTube, but have not actually done anything about it. That was me for years. I've watched so many YouTube videos on productivity and it just never sticks. The Bible does not say wait until you feel ready and then obey. It says obey. Full stop, right now, obey. Action first, feelings second. Because motivation does not create action. Action creates motivation. You move and then the momentum builds. But if you wait for the energy before you start, you'll be waiting for your whole life. Now here's why the comfort is so dangerous for men. Right now especially, your brain loves comfort. Your brain just loves comfort. It's not because you're weak, but because your brain is wired to conserve energy and to avoid risk. It's in our natural being, right? Conserve energy and avoid risk. Every time you choose comfort over effort, your brain logs that as a win, and it makes it easier to choose the comfort next time. That's why when you're busy training, you have to constantly adapt. You have to constantly increase your set volume. Otherwise, your body gets adapted and gets used to that exercise, right? Now think about it like a game where you keep grinding the same low-level area. It is safe and it's predictable, right? Like Elden Ring, you can grind Limgrave as long as you want. You can stay there. I think I've spent the most time in Limgrave because you get comfortable in that area, right? But the harder zones is where the real loot is, but you keep avoiding them because you feel that the risk is too high. And the longer you stay in the easy area, the more that the harder zones feel impossible. Even though you're more than capable of handling them if you just push through, right? When you get to Caelid for the first time, it feels really daunting, but you've spent so much time in Limgrave that you're completely over-leveled. Okay? Now, this is exactly what happens when comfort becomes your default setting. Effort starts feeling abnormal. It feels weird to do things outside of your comfort level. But Proverbs 24, verse 33 to 34 says, a little sleep, a little slumber, a little folding of the hands to rest, and poverty will come upon you like a robber. A little, not a catastrophic big decision, just small, little, uncomfortable or comfortable choices, repeated over and over until one day you just look back and you realize that they've cost you everything. That is how laziness destroys a man. It's not dramatic, it's quietly over years. Years of small surrenders that never feel like a big thing in the moment. Laziness does not cost you all at once. It costs you slowly in ways that you don't notice until it's too late. You delay a task and then the opportunity fades. Right? You skip the workout for a month and your body starts to break down. You avoid the hard conversation and the relationship quietly deteriorates. You put off building something meaningful and 5 years go by and you're in the exact same place. Again, me starting this channel. I could have done this. I had this idea since 2020. You know what happened in 2020? It was the boom to start YouTube channels or anything like that. And I kept procrastinating, saying, no, I've got another year. And here we are. I hope to make this successful, but maybe I missed my chance. but I'm doing it now. Proverbs 13 verse 4 says, "The soul of the sluggard craves and gets nothing, while the soul of the diligent is richly supplied." Craves and gets nothing. The desire is there. The intention is there, but nothing actually happens. Because intention without action is just a wish dressed up as a plan. So how does a man actually break this? Well, first, you stop waiting to start feeling ready and you just start. That thing that you've been waiting for, just started. Started right now, today. In Joshua 1 verse 9, it says, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be frightened and do not be dismayed. For the Lord your God is with you wherever you go." Be strong and courageous. Not feel it and be it. It's act and move. You do not feel confident and then act. You act first and you build that confidence. Okay? You do not feel ready and then start. You start first and the readiness develops. Secondly, you build structure so you do not have to rely on how everything feels in the morning. Structure. Proverbs 21 verse 5 says, "The plans of the diligent lead surely to abundance." When your day is structured and the decisions already made, you don't have to debate whether to work out. It's scheduled. You just do it. You do not negotiate with yourself whether you're going to pray. It's already part of the routine. Structure removes the moments where laziness gets in to make its case, right? And the flesh hates that because it thrives on the negotiation. It constantly wants to tell you, you don't need to do this, you don't need to do this. Stop. It's planned. I'm doing it. It's part of the schedule. I can't stop now. I have to do it. Okay? In Ecclesiastes 11 verse 4 says, "He who observes the wind will not sow, and he who regards the clouds will not reap." Stop waiting for the perfect conditions. Build the system and follow it even when the conditions are not ideal. Thirdly, start smaller than you think you need to. Most men fail because they try to overhaul their entire life in 1 week, right? You get that fad diet. You start the new diet, the new workout, the new schedule, new everything. And then it's too much. It's too much at once and everything falls apart. What happens when it falls apart? You believe that you messed up. Okay? In Luke 16 verse 10 it says, "One who is faithful in very little is also faithful in much." That's where it starts. Wake up at a time that you said. That is it for today. You do the one small thing, small wins, build trust with yourself. Years we've built distrust. You tell yourself you're going to do something and you don't do it. You've broken that trust with yourself. And trust is what actually sustains the discipline long term. Because when you trust yourself to follow through, you actually do follow through. And that compounds into something real. Here's the shift that changes this at the identity level. In Corinthians 2, verse 5 to 17, Corinthians 2, verse 5-17 says that if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come. New creation, not trying to become one, already one. The old version, the one who kept waiting and delaying and choosing comfort, that man is gone. This is your new identity. You're not trying to be lazy. You're not trying to stop being lazy. You are a new man learning to live like it. Okay? Your identity is that you are the new man. You are the man that does it. You do first. So start by saying, I am a disciplined man who is building his habits. That sounds like a really small statement, right? But it's not. Your identity shapes your behavior at a level where the willpower never reaches. If you are a man that doesn't procrastinate, if you are the man that is courageous, that acts first, then you will be that man. You do not need to second guess it or question it. You are just that person. In Galatians 6, verse 9 says, let us not grow weary of doing good, for in due seasons we will reap, if we do not give up. In due seasons, not tomorrow, not after a good week, but over time, if you do not give up. So the goal is not perfection, the goal is direction. You're moving forward even if it's slow. Then you're winning, right? Even if you're moving slowly. The man who shows up every single day doing small things faithfully will always outbuild the man who does it all in a week and then collapses. So laziness is not defeated by finding more motivation. It is defeated by obedience, structure, and constant action, especially in the small things that nobody sees. That's where the real man gets built, right? Now, if you've been sitting and waiting, telling yourself that you will get serious when the time is right, when you feel more ready, you need to hear this right now. The timing is never going to be right. The feeling is never going to show up first. And another year is going to go by while you're waiting on that something that only comes after you move. So stop waiting, start small, and build the structure. Follow it, right? Whether you feel like it or not, and trust that God is at work even when the progress feels invisible. Now, if this message resonated with you, please remember to like and share it with another man who is also looking to build his Christianity on a masculine Christianity and to build a community of like-minded men. And I'll see you guys in the next one.